There comes a time in life when the noise of our cravings, the constant demands of the body, must be quieted, because it is in silence that something deeper awakens. It is in the stillness of our desires, when the body goes silent, that the soul finally has room to speak. Abstinence is not about punishment. It is not about depriving ourselves of joy. It is about recognizing that true strength, true clarity, and true freedom are not found in constant indulgence, but in intentional restraint. The world teaches us that satisfaction comes from more pleasure, more distractions, more consumption, but the soul whispers a different truth. Satisfaction comes from less, from control, from discipline, from mastering yourself rather than being mastered by your impulses. When the body is quiet, the soul rises, and when the soul rises, you begin to see the world and yourself with clarity you didn't know existed. That is the power behind abstinence. It is not just about saying no, it is about saying yes to something far greater. Discipline creates freedom. Discipline is a word that many run away from. It feels heavy. It feels restricting. It feels like saying no when everything in you wants to say yes. But the truth is, discipline is not a prison. Discipline is the key that unlocks the door to true freedom. Without it, life feels chaotic. Without it, we are at the mercy of every craving, every temptation, every urge that rises up inside us. With it, we stand tall, steady, unshaken. Discipline creates freedom. Think about it. Freedom is not doing whatever you want, whenever you want. That's chaos disguised as liberty. True freedom is the ability to choose what serves you, to walk away from what doesn't, and to live without being enslaved to your desires. When you practice abstinence, you are not chaining yourself down. You are breaking the chains that once held you captive. You are proving to yourself that your body may have cravings, but your spirit has authority. Every time you say no to something that weakens you, you are saying yes to something that strengthens you. Every time you deny the body's immediate hunger, you feed the soul's eternal hunger for meaning, for growth, for strength. The greatest victories in life are not won on battlefields. They are won in the secret war within the war between desire and discipline, between impulse and intention. Freedom is found in mastery, and mastery comes from practice. Abstinence is not about perfection, it is about progress. It is training the mind, the heart, and the body to align with a greater purpose. Athletes know this, musicians know this, leaders know this. None of them reach greatness by indulging every impulse. They reach it by submitting themselves to discipline. They find joy not in what is easy, but in what is necessary. Think of a river. When it floods, water spreads everywhere, wild and uncontrolled, causing destruction. But when that same water is channeled, directed, and disciplined, it becomes powerful, purposeful, and life-giving. Your life works the same way. Without discipline, energy scatters. With discipline, energy flows with focus and creates impact. That is the kind of freedom abstinence gives. It channels your life toward what matters most. Discipline doesn't take from you. It gives back to you. It gives back your time, your focus, your self-respect. It allows you to wake up each day without regret, because you know you lived by choice, not by impulse. And that kind of freedom cannot be bought. It can only be earned through restraint. People often confuse indulgence with joy. They believe the more they give in, the more fulfilled they will feel. But the truth is, indulgence leaves you empty. The high fades, the craving returns, the cycle never ends. Discipline, however, builds. It doesn't take away, it multiplies. The more you live with self-control, the more your confidence grows, the more your vision clears. The more you realize that real joy comes not from feeding every desire, but from conquering them. Discipline is love in action. Love for your future self, love for your purpose, love for the life you were designed to live. It is not easy, it never has been, but it is worth it, because in every act of restraint, you are writing a new story for your life. A story where you are not a victim of cravings, but a master of choices. And here is the paradox of life. Those who avoid discipline end up bound by consequences, but those who embrace discipline walk free. You can choose to carry the short-term pain of self-control, or you can live with the long-term pain of regret. One brings growth, the other brings bondage. The choice is always yours. When the body is silenced by discipline, the soul speaks freedom, the kind of freedom that cannot be taken away, the kind of freedom that empowers you to live with direction, purpose, and peace. So remember this: discipline is not your enemy. It is your greatest ally. It is not your prison. It is your passport. And with every step of discipline, you are walking into a life that is truly free. Silence amplifies the soul. Silence is a language most of us have forgotten how to hear. We live in a world that is loud, loud with distractions, loud with desires, loud with endless noise that drowns out the whispers within us. But here is the truth. When the body goes silent, when its cravings and demands are quieted, the soul begins to rise. And when the soul rises, it speaks in a voice that is steady, powerful, and clear. Silence amplifies the soul. Abstinence is not just the act of restraint. It is the art of listening. Every time you say no to your body's endless hunger, you are making space for the soul's voice to be heard. And that voice has always been there. It has just been covered up by the static of indulgence. In silence, your inner compass starts to guide you. In silence, the truths you've been avoiding surface. In silence, the deepest parts of you finally get the attention they deserve. The body shouts. It demands. It cries out for satisfaction now, for pleasure now, for escape now, but the soul waits. The soul does not shout, it whispers, and that's why so many people miss it. They are too busy running from craving to craving, distraction to distraction, to hear the very wisdom that could set them free. When abstinence quiets the body, the whisper becomes a voice, and the voice becomes a roar of direction, purpose, and peace. Think about this. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history, in faith, in personal growth, have not come in moments of indulgence. They have come in moments of stillness, in fasting, in solitude, in choosing silence over noise. Why? Because in silence, the soul becomes amplified. It becomes louder than the cravings, louder than the doubts, louder than the lies the world tries to sell you. Silence is not emptiness. It is clarity. Abstinence clears the clutter. It strips away the distractions. It removes the excess, leaving only what matters. And when all that noise is gone, what remains is the pure, undeniable truth of who you are and what you are capable of becoming. That truth has been waiting for you to listen. The soul carries wisdom the body cannot comprehend. The body thinks only of survival, of satisfaction, of the present moment. The soul thinks of eternity, of legacy, of destiny. The body is short-sighted. The soul sees the bigger picture. When you silence the body, you are not losing something. You are gaining the ability to hear what is eternal, what is lasting, what is unshakable. But here's the challenge. Silence can be uncomfortable. Abstinence can feel like emptiness at first. When you deny the body, you will feel the pull of cravings stronger than ever. That is the body fighting to keep control. But if you endure, if you push through that discomfort, something extraordinary happens. The noise fades, the chaos settles, and the voice of the soul comes alive. That voice will guide you when nothing else can. It will remind you of your worth when the world tells you otherwise. It will point you toward growth when the easy path tempts you to settle. It will give you strength when you feel weak. The body cannot do this for you. Only the soul can, but the soul cannot be heard in a crowded room of constant indulgence. It is only heard in the quiet power of restraint. Abstinence is not silence for the sake of silence. It is silence for the sake of revelation. It reveals who you are beneath the cravings. It reveals what matters most. It reveals the direction you need to go, and it amplifies the deepest voice you carry, the one that has been with you since the beginning, waiting for you to listen. So do not fear silence. Do not run from it. Do not fill every quiet moment with noise. Embrace it, seek it, protect it, because silence is not weakness. It is not emptiness. It is strength. It is fullness. It is power, and when the body goes silent, the soul is amplified into a voice that cannot be ignored. When you learn to hear that voice, you will never be lost again, because once the soul speaks, it speaks with truth, with clarity, and with authority. And when that truth becomes your guide, nothing in this world can shake you. Restraint unlocks strength. Strength is not built in comfort. Strength is not discovered in indulgence. Strength is born in restraint. Every time you choose abstinence, you are proving something powerful. You are stronger than your cravings, stronger than your impulses, stronger than the pull of your own body. Restraint does not weaken you, it unlocks a strength that indulgence will never give. We often confuse strength with outward force. We think of muscles, dominance, or the ability to control others. But the truest strength is not about controlling the outside world. It is about mastering the inside world. The person who cannot restrain themselves, no matter how powerful they look, is not strong. They are a prisoner to their impulses. But the one who can restrain their desires, silence their cravings, and rise above temptation, that person is unshakable. Think about fire. Left uncontrolled, fire destroys. But when it is restrained, it provides warmth, energy, and power. The same is true of your desires. They are not evil in themselves, but without restraint, they burn everything in their path, your focus, your peace, your future. When you practice restraint, you do not kill the fire, you master it, you direct it, you unlock its power without letting it destroy you. That is strength. Restraint is not weakness, it is resistance. And resistance builds strength. Just as a muscle grows when it resists weight, the soul grows when it resists temptation. Each time you resist an urge, you are lifting a weight in the gym of your spirit. And just like in the gym, the heavier the resistance, the stronger you become over time. Abstinence is your training ground. It is where you build endurance, resilience, and unbreakable strength. The world tries to sell us a lie, that giving in makes life easier, that indulgence is the way to happiness. But what happens after indulgence? Regret, emptiness, the craving returns stronger, the cycle repeats. Indulgence makes you weaker, not stronger. It robs you of energy, steals your confidence, and leaves you chained to your desires. But restraint does the opposite. It makes you stand taller. It sharpens your focus. It builds your self-respect, because you know you have power over yourself. True strength is revealed in self-control. Anyone can give in. That requires no effort. Anyone can satisfy the body. That takes no discipline. But to resist, to wait, to say no when everything in you screams yes, that requires power, and every time you do it, that power multiplies. You begin to trust yourself. You begin to respect yourself, and others begin to see a strength in you that cannot be faked. Restraint unlocks more than strength. It unlocks freedom, because once you realize you can control your body instead of your body controlling you, you are free. Free to choose purpose over pleasure. Free to walk in clarity instead of confusion. Free to build a future instead of wasting the present. This is why abstinence is not about deprivation. It is about empowerment. It is about proving to yourself that you are stronger than your desires. And here's something important. Strength is not built overnight. Just like a muscle, it grows with consistent practice. You may stumble, you may fall, you may give in sometimes, but each time you choose restraint, even in the smallest of ways, you are adding weight to your soul's strength. Over time, that strength compounds. You become unshakable. You become resilient. You become someone who cannot be broken by the pressures of the world. Look at history. The strongest men and women were not those who indulged in everything they wanted. They were the ones who knew the power of restraint. They withheld, they waited, they sacrificed. And through that sacrifice, they discovered strength the world could not take away. Restraint is the hidden path to greatness. It is the silent forge where the strongest lives are built. So when temptation comes, don't see it as an enemy. See it as a weight placed in your hands, a chance to grow stronger, a chance to prove to yourself that you are not a prisoner, you are a warrior. And every act of restraint is another victory, another step toward the strength you were created to walk in. Remember this, indulgence might feel good in the moment, but it weakens you in the long run. Restraint might feel painful in the moment, but it makes you unstoppable for a lifetime. Every time you resist, you grow. Every time you hold back, you rise higher. Every time you practice abstinence, you unlock strength you didn't even know was inside you. That is the power of restraint. That is where true strength is born. Abstinence brings clarity. Clarity is a gift this world desperately lacks. So many live clouded by distractions, addictions, and endless noise. Their vision is blurred, their direction uncertain, their purpose buried beneath layers of indulgence. But here's the truth. Abstinence clears the fog. When the body is denied its constant demands, the mind begins to settle. The heart begins to focus. The soul begins to see. Abstinence brings clarity. Think of your life as a window. Over time, smudges appear. Habits, cravings, and distractions that blur your ability to see clearly. Indulgence keeps adding layer after layer until the glass is so clouded that you can no longer make out the path ahead. But abstinence is the act of cleaning that window. Every moment of self-control wipes away another smudge. And slowly, the view becomes clear. You begin to see where you are, where you're going, and who you are meant to be. Clarity is powerful. It gives direction when the world is filled with confusion. It gives focus when everything else screams for your attention. It allows you to live not in reaction, but in intention, and the road to clarity always begins with restraint. You cannot hear your inner voice when you are drowning in noise. You cannot see your future when your present is buried under distractions. Abstinence removes the clutter, so the truth can finally emerge. The body is short-sighted. It only thinks of the now, the immediate hunger, the quick pleasure, the fast escape. But the soul sees beyond. The soul carries vision. When you quiet the body, you allow the soul's vision to guide you, and with that vision comes clarity. Suddenly, choices become clearer. Priorities become obvious. Distractions lose their power. And you begin to see not just what is in front of you, but what lies ahead. Clarity is not about having all the answers. It is about knowing what matters most. Abstinence teaches you this by removing what doesn't. When you step back from indulgence, you realize how little you actually need. You discover that many of the things you thought were essential were only illusions, and in their absence, the truth shines brighter. You see yourself more honestly. You see your habits more clearly. You see your future with sharper focus. Abstinence is not a punishment. It is a purification. Just as fasting cleanses the body, abstinence cleanses the soul. It strips away the excess, the unnecessary, the harmful, and leaves behind what is pure and essential. And in that purified state, clarity emerges. It is not something you manufacture. It is something that naturally rises when the noise is gone. Many people fear abstinence because they think it will leave them empty, but in reality, it does the opposite. It empties the noise to fill you with vision. It clears away the distractions to fill you with purpose. It removes the temporary so you can see the eternal. That is the beauty of clarity. It does not come from adding more to your life. It comes from removing what doesn't belong. And clarity does more than show you the path that strengthens your steps. Once you see where you are going, your confidence grows, your discipline feels lighter, your sacrifice feels meaningful, because you are no longer wandering aimlessly. You are walking with vision, and vision is power. The most dangerous thing is not a person who is strong, it is a person who is clear. Strength can be misused without vision, but clarity directs strength. It channels your energy towards something meaningful. Abstinence doesn't just make you strong, it makes you clear. And when strength meets clarity, you become unstoppable. Remember this, indulgence clouds your vision. It may feel good for a moment, but it leaves you lost in the fog. Abstinence may feel hard in the moment, but it clears the path ahead. Every time you choose restraint, you wipe another smudge from the glass. And one day, you will look up and see a vision so clear that it takes your breath away. That is the gift of abstinence. That is the power of clarity, and once you see with clarity, you will never again settle for living in the fog. Sacrifice leads to growth. Every great story is written in the language of sacrifice. Every breakthrough, every transformation, every rise from weakness to strength has come not through indulgence, but through giving something up. Sacrifice is the soil where growth takes root. Without it, nothing lasting is built. With it, everything meaningful becomes possible. Sacrifice leads to growth. Think about the seed. It must fall into the ground and die before it can grow. It gives up its form to become something greater. That is sacrifice, and that is the law of life. If you want to grow, you must let go. If you want to rise, you must release. If you want to become more, you must first be willing to give something up. Abstinence is sacrifice in action. It is choosing to deny yourself now so you can become stronger later. It is giving up the temporary to gain the eternal. It is saying no to a fleeting pleasure so you can say yes to lasting purpose. And though sacrifice hurts in the moment, it heals in the future. It feels like loss at first, but it is actually gain, because every act of sacrifice plants a seed, and that seed will one day grow into something greater than you imagine. Growth never happens in comfort. Comfort is where we stay the same. Sacrifice is where we change. When you sacrifice, you step out of what is easy and into what is necessary. You push against the boundaries of who you are and discover who you are meant to be. And that is where growth is born, not in indulgence, not in excess, but in the sacred act of letting go. The strongest trees are not the ones sheltered from the storm. They are the ones that sacrificed comfort, endured the winds, and grew roots deep into the earth. The same is true of you. Every time you sacrifice indulgence, you are driving roots deeper. You are building character, resilience, and endurance. And though it hurts in the moment, that sacrifice is making you unshakable. Sacrifice also teaches perspective. It reminds you of what truly matters. When you let go of something your body craves, you gain clarity on what your soul actually needs. You begin to see that life is not about constant satisfaction. It is about lasting significance. Sacrifice clears away the distractions, so you can focus on what will actually matter 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and for the rest of your life. And here's the paradox. The very things we think we cannot live without are often the things holding us back from the life we are meant to live. Sacrifice cuts those chains. It frees you from false dependencies. It strips away the illusions so you can rise into something greater. In sacrifice, you realize you are stronger than your cravings, wiser than your impulses, and braver than your fears. That realization is growth. But let's be honest, sacrifice will never feel easy. It will stretch you, it will test you, it will pull you to the edge of your comfort zone, and that is the point. Because growth does not happen where you are comfortable. Growth only happens when you are stretched. And every time you stretch, you expand your capacity to become more. Sacrifice also gives meaning to your victories. When you finally reach the mountaintop, it will not be indulgence that brought you there. It will be sacrifice. And the very act of letting go will make the victory sweeter because you know what it cost you. Growth without sacrifice is shallow, but growth born of sacrifice is deep, lasting, and unshakable. So do not fear sacrifice. Do not run from abstinence. Do not avoid the moments where you must deny yourself. Lean into them, embrace them, see them not as loss but as investment, because every time you give something up for the sake of growth, you are sowing into your future. And the harvest will be worth it. Sacrifice leads to growth. It may not feel like it now. It may feel like you are losing. But in time, you will see that what you gave up was never as valuable as what you gained. Strength, clarity, freedom, purpose, growth, that is the return on sacrifice, and it is worth everything. When the body goes silent, the soul speaks, and in that silence, we discover truths the world often hides from us. We discover that discipline does not imprison us, it frees us. We discover that silence is not emptiness, it is a doorway to wisdom. We discover that restraint is not weakness. It is the very soil where strength is born. We discover that abstinence does not cloud life, it clears it. And we discover that sacrifice is not loss. It is the pathway to lasting growth. This is the truth behind abstinence. It is not about saying no just for the sake of denial. It is about saying yes to something greater. It is about trading the temporary for the eternal, the shallow for the deep, the fleeting for the lasting. And though the body may resist, though cravings may scream, The soul is louder when given room to speak. We live in a culture that tells us more is always better, more indulgence, more pleasure, more escape. But deep down, you know that cycle leaves you empty, because the more you feed the body, the hungrier it becomes. The more you chase pleasure, the less satisfied you feel. The soul was never meant to be silenced by indulgence. It was meant to lead, and when you quiet the body, you allow the soul to take its rightful place. The beauty of abstinence is not found in what you give up. It is found in what you gain. You gain freedom, you gain clarity, you gain strength, you gain vision, and most of all, you gain yourself, the truest, strongest, most powerful version of who you were created to be. So let this be your reminder: the greatest victories are not always loud. Sometimes they are quiet. Sometimes they are found in the simple act of restraint, in the hidden moment when you choose discipline over desire, silence over noise, sacrifice over indulgence. Those choices are not small. They are the foundation of greatness. And if you choose this path, if you choose discipline, silence, restraint, clarity, and sacrifice, then you will rise into a life that is free, focused, and unshakable. Because when the body goes silent, the soul speaks, and when the soul speaks, it tells the truth that sets you free.